There we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Woo! Alrighty. I'm ready to basically dive right on in, okay? Yesterday, we took 4 deep, long, quality hours looking at just about every aspect of the Cloud Limit Break deck. And I look forward to doing the same this time. Listen, chat. We went through the entire lore of Final Fantasy X yesterday, and I want to do the same with this one because I do not know anything about this game. I have not played Final Fantasy VII at all. Not the originals, not the remakes. All I've seen is Advent Children, and that told me everything I needed to know. Cloud has swords, the power of friendship. There's other characters that are cool, and Sephiroth is evil or something. Yes, Counter Blitz. Yeah, that was the Bant deck with Titus. I remember everything. I remember everything. In fact, I even talked about what I learned at work today. I was like, yeah, we talked about Final Fantasy X, and like I know who Titus. I know who Titus is now, and like blah blah blah. So, yeah, it was baller. It was great, chat. Hello, Fast Online. Good to see everyone. Sephiroth is Bay. He is very pretty. He is a very pretty man. He has a very long sword, if you know what I mean. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see. We technically, way back when they first revealed the Cloud card, we did talk about like Cloud as a commander and whatnot, but that was of course before the precon was out. That was of course before we saw more of the set. We see a lot more of the set now. The precons are all out, so we have a lot more context than we did before. So forget everything you knew before with previous content. We are now going to dive into our very first one, and let's just start right off at the top with Cloud X Soldier. All right. 5 and 6 are the ones that are most important to you. Interesting. Sword is an equipment. Yes. Is it sword is a euphemism? True. Every time we say sword during the stream, it's going to be a euphemism for anime boys and their long swords. All right. Cloud X Soldier. 2 red, green, and the white for a 4/4 legendary creature, human soldier mercenary. Cloud has haste. And when Cloud enters, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to it, alright? And whenever Cloud attacks, draw a card for each equipped attacking creature you control. Then, if Cloud has power 7 or greater, create 2 treasure tokens. Alright, so just looking at this again. Cloud, 4/4 with haste, okay. Enters, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to it. Fine, sure. When Cloud attacks, which you can do the turn he comes out, draw a card for each equipped attacking creature you control. So this isn't even necessarily like a Voltron commander, right? Lord. This isn't even necessarily a Voltron commander. Then, if Cloud has power 7 or greater, create 2 treasure tokens. So, like, we want Cloud to have an equipment on him, maybe just like 1, that adds just 3 power, right? 4, 5, 6, 7. We only need 3 power to turn Cloud into a 7 drop so we can get 2 treasure tokens. But we actually want to go like moderately wide and tall with Cloud here. I do wonder if like the rest of the deck is going to be like characters and their equipment. That would actually be really cool. So you get to play like Cloud, and I know there's a guy named Vincent and Tifa and Barrett, and there's a dog, and there's a cat, and there's an Advent child, and I know there's that. So, yeah, I do wonder if like the rest of the deck is gonna be full of that. But let's think about the way that these break down, chat. When we're looking at a commander, and Cloud's very clearly commander, I'm gonna need 3 cards from Magic's illustrious history, right? 3 cards that absolutely go into an upgraded Cloud X Soldier deck, right? I have the deck list on the side here just to make sure that we don't like recover bases. But yeah, like what cards that aren't in this deck already, the Cloud's going to need. Lord time. Cloud is a mercenary for hire, ex-soldier, which means he used to be part of Shinra Electric Company's elite super soldier force. He left that life and is now helping his childhood friend Tifa take down Shinra because their energy plants are essentially killing the planet. Okay, so we are in economically minded rebelist, if you will, if you would be so bold, is to say that, yeah. Stoneforge Mystic? Is Stoneforge Mystic, like, literally not in this deck already? That's crazy. There's no way. Holy shit. Alright, oh, yeah, there's that. Yep, Stoneforge Mystic. Okay. Because, like, the number one thing in this deck is, like, finding these cards, right? You want to find the cards that he's going to want. Glimmer Lens? Glimmer Lens is pretty good. I do like, because this is a deck that incentivizes you attack with multiple creatures, Glimmer Lens is actually a pretty cool sort of card, right? It's an equipment that's incentivizing you to attack with multiple people so that you can draw more cards, which is exactly what Cloud wants you to do, right? And also because it's for Mirrodin, it comes into play attached to a creature already. The 2 white mana Cloud, well, yeah, but that's, you know, think more an environmentalist freedom fighting organization. Okay, all right. How you doing? For Mirrodin / living weapon stuff, yeah, for Mirrodin living weapons actually pretty dope here because you just already have another attacking creature. You don't even need to pay equipping to it at all. For Mirrodin's even better because you can take the equipment from the For Mirrodin creature, but it still is like a 2/2, right? You still have a 2/2 left. Beastmaster Ascension. Yeah, because we did mention 2 white cards. Any green cards that kind of go in here? I think SRAM is not on the list. I think, well, I know SRAM at least got reprinted, like literally reprinted as a Final Fantasy card. I don't think. Yeah, Stoneforge hasn't. Beastmaster Ascension. Beastmaster Ascension? I mean, as much as any green deck wants it, I suppose, right? SRAM isn't in because Magic IP. No, I think SRAM, I think they did like the, they did the, yeah, it's Farion Swordmaster is SRAM. Ooh, Shishiro. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's good. Yep, good call. Good call. See, that's exactly the type of thing that I wanted to hear. Thank you. All right. Now, this is a point of contention because aesthetic-wise, these Final Fantasy VII cards are taking from Remake and Rebirth more so than the OG7. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. So what I'm seeing here is more like the remake era. I hear like the remakes are pretty lore accurate, but they still change some things. I think the overall beats are lore accurate. Lizard Blades, Bloodforged Battle Axe, yeah, all of those are going to be really good. But in terms of just like, I want like kind of 3 things to talk about. We have Stoneforge Mystic. That's going to be another creature that tutors up a specific equipment that you want, which is going to be pretty important for Cloud, right? Tutoring up the equipment that you need. And then Glimmer Lens is a good example of how you can go like medium, both like wide and tall, by getting equipment onto creatures, especially equipment that already have creatures come into play with them, and draw cards when you are attacking. And then lastly, Shishiro is a good kind of like green representation for things that you might want to add to this deck, just so you can go like, hey, equip the creatures are modified creatures. We have something here to talk about. But Balin and Kambal, yeah, absolutely. All of those equipment cats will be sweet for it. Job select is a strong keyword for this deck, but it doesn't have any because they're mostly representing FF games with job systems, which this is not. Yeah, this is not, like, Final Fantasy VII is, like, everyone is, like, they have their own weapons, they have their own thing. This is not a job selection sort of thing, right? Yeah, this is totally fine. Alright, yeah, no, those are just kind of, like, 3 examples that I wanted. So, let's do the thing. So, first and foremost, So the first suggestion for a card, we have Stoneforge Mystic, which is going to be, you want to have a Stoneforge Mystic and other tutor type effects in your deck so that you can have creatures, ideally, so you can eventually equip them, that tutor up the equipment that you need for the current moment. You can have equipment basically throughout your entire deck that fit every single specific situation that you need, or that you're running into, but you need to find them at the right time. You don't want to just blindly draw a million cards. You want to get the specific equipment that you need. So Stoneforge Mystic would be absolutely perfect for that. Next, you want equipment that help you actually go wide and tall, because this deck isn't about making a bunch of 1/1 guys and then giving them all separate equipment and then swinging, which would be cool because you'll draw cards, but you're going to have a couple moderately costed creatures that have equipment on them that are going to hit higher than their weight class, and you're going to be able to draw a couple cards with Cloud and then get some treasures to actually cast spells with, and Glimmer Lens is a perfect example of this. This is an equipment that comes in play attached to a creature and incentivizes you to attack with a multiple creatures so that you can draw cards. And then lastly, we have Shishiro the Shattered Blade. There's actually quite a couple cards in green and red that are pro equipment, pro artifact based. So you'll be able to play cards like this. Turns out modified creatures are all of the creatures in your deck that have equipment on them. So they'll become stronger. You get a bunch of tokens that you're able to block with. If you have extra equipment lying around, you can equip those tokens with equipment. It'll be a fantastic time. But just like some 3 very quick upgrades and things to think about when you're building Cloud X Soldier. You want to be able to tutor for equipment. You want to have equipment that incentivizes or praises the fact that you're attacking with multiple creatures, and equipment that comes to play with a creature attached to it. And then modified creatures over there with Shishiro are, well, modified creatures are everything that you have with an equipment on it. So anything that gives equipment creatures extra combat, trample, etc., you're going to want to have in this deck. And boom, there we go. And see, I click the save button, and then I send it over to an editor, and then boom. All right, let's go over to the next one. This one, that's like a brief like introduction of how we're going to do these, right? When we find a commander, we want to get 3 cards that definitely need to go in a Cloud deck, you know, a deck for this commander. And then next, we go over, if we find a card that's more of like in the 99 and not a commander, we find other commanders that this card can go into. All right, let's go over to our next one. Tifa Martial Artist. Let's go. All right, now this one, I am personally, chat, I am going to build Tifa because I made that banger tweet pointing out that Tifa Lockhart has the same colors as the Italian flag, and if you know, you know why that's absolutely hilarious. So I specifically will be building a Tifa deck once I can get my hands on her. So Tifa Martial Artist, 1 green and white for a 4/4 legendary creature human monk with melee. Whenever this creature attacks, it gets +1 until end of turn for each opponent attack this combat. Wonderful. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control with power 7 or greater deal combat damage to a player, untap all creatures you control. If it's the first combat phase of your turn, there's an additional combat phase after this one. So that's totally fine. Do you think Goldwarden's Gambit will work? Oh, 100% Hawktopus. I love that name. Hawktopus 9. Yeah, Goldwarden's Gambit would be fantastic in the Cloud deck. Like, really, really good. You're building the other Tifa right now, and I probably won't play it because she's absurd. Really? That's the mono green one, right? Tifa's your favorite Italian senator? True. Tifa fans love Italy, right? Turn 3 kill without ramp. So damn, okay, shit, I didn't know it was all like that. But yeah, so this Tifa is really cool. I like melee, right? So if you get extra combats with her, she keeps that +1/+1 that she gets from the, you know, your first attack. If you attacked 3 different opponents on your first combat, she's gonna get +3/+3. Already bring her to 7, which is really cool, right? And then you get an extra combat. She keeps that +3/+3, and then you attack again. Oh wait, and until end of turn for each opponent. Yeah. That's sick. That's dope. All right, so whenever one of our creatures you control with power 7 or greater deal combat damage to a player, untap all creatures you control. If this is the first combat phase of your turn, there's an additional combat phase after this one. So there's a lot that you can do with I mean, like, extra combats, Naya extra combats, you can definitely, definitely soup that up. I think the first thing that we want, that melee is a triggered ability on attacks, right? You're adding her to your Voja deck. I mean, fuck it. At that point, why not? Wolfgar? Yeah. Wolfgar. Icewind Dale also has melee. Basically, it's like Tifa. 4/4 with melee. If a creature you control attacking would cause a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. And that does that does affect, like, if you have opponents attacking, like either you or other players, and you get a trigger, that counts for oh wait, no, it's a creature you control. Never mind. Take all that back. All right, what else? Double melee? Yeah, double melee is cool. Anzrag, yeah. Anzrag, the Quake Mole. 4 mana, 8/4. When Anzrag, the Quake Mole becomes blocked, untap each creature you control. After this combat phase, there's an additional combat phase. That's kind of huge. That's kind of big. That's a pretty decent way to get a lot of extra combats, too. Like, a lot of extra combats. Sephiroth Fallen Hero means you get max player gun infinite the first time he swings. Well, we haven't gotten to that one card yet. We're going to have to look at that soon. Pathbreaker Ibex would get your board huge. Ooh. Yeah, having guys that give having creatures, because yeah, Pathbreaker Ibex will almost do more than a what's the Craterhoof Behemoth, right? Because Pathbreaker Ibex keeps on getting bigger every single time you attack. I really like that. Landfall extra combat dude. I don't know their I know who you mean. The guy, the Minotaur. You got it. I mean, yeah. All right, so I think those are some pretty interesting things to hit on, right? So we have the Pathbreaker Ibex, because that's going to give you bigger combat, bigger power every time you're attacking, which is something that you're really going to want. Anzrag, the Quake Mole, loves getting extra attacks because it actually really messes your opponents up. And then lastly, Wolfgar gives you double attack triggers whenever you attack with any of your creatures, right? Any of your creatures attacking will double on attack triggers, which Tifa will love with melee. And the rest of your board, and the rest of your deck was honestly going to love her. Alright, so diving into the content section. Tifa, Martial Artist, gets 7. So Tifa, Martial Artist, wants you to attack multiple creatures at the same time, which is absolutely fantastic. And then, if you control a creature power 7 or greater, dealing combat damage on that first combat, you're going to get another one from there. So, firstly, Wolfgar of Icewind Dale is going to be a perfect red-green card that says, hey, do you trigger any abilities when you go to attack, like melee perhaps? Double that, right? Get a second melee trigger, which Wolfgar is already having on himself. Tifa's gonna love that. Tifa's gonna end up being your 7-power creature really, really quickly as soon as you have Wolfgar out. Next, we want to focus on creatures that love having additional combats. Like, additional combats are fine, right? We already know the general concept of wanting additional combats, but we also want to get creatures in here that like having additional combats, right? So Anzrag, the Quake Mole, says every time he attacks, it has to be blocked, and then you get to untap and have another combat if Anzrag is still alive, right? So this is going to be an absolutely really good card in this deck, even if you don't give Anzrag Trample, right? And then lastly, you're going to want things like Pathbreaker Ibex. Craterhoof Behemoth is a great card, you know, enters the battlefield, buffs your whole board. That's really, really cool. But because we're going to get multiple attack steps, cards like Pathbreaker Ibex allows your entire board to get bigger than the first attack, then get bigger on the second, and then the third, and however many extra combats you have, your board just gets bigger and bigger and bigger every single swing. So I would run Pathbreaker Ibex over Craterhoof Behemoth, if in all honesty. So yeah, these are just 3 simple upgrades that you can put in any Tifa and Martial Artist deck. I mean, all 3 of these go in every single one of them, but on just each of them really hit on a specific part of her abilities that you always want to make sure that you're doubling down on. Tifa and Jetmir is going to be spicy. Yeah, Jetmir giving what? +3. So it's like Tifa's already 7. And then Double Strike and Trample and something else. Yeah, Jetmir is going to go hard here. All right, let me see what Mia's saying. Let me make sure I get all that lore. Lore time. Tifa is Cloud's childhood friend from the town of Nibelheim. After a horrifying incident that saw the town set ablaze, she winds up living in the slums of the city in Midgard. She meets Jesse, Wedge, and Biggs and becomes friends with them. She works off her medical debt, having been slashed with a giant katana and blacking out in Nibelheim. Okay, wow. Eventually, she ends up working at the bar Seventh Heaven, where she meets Barrett. She eventually inherits the bar and joins the rebel group Avalanche to help her friends. Okay, all right, all right. So Tifa's just kind of all around cool. She has a scar, I guess, that she's healing from, and just seems to be like a cool all around person. Okay, I know that she kicks butt in the Advent Children. I know that much. Just prior to the beginning of 7, she finds Cloud at the train station, completely zooted out of his mind until he recognizes her. She tells him about the Avalanche gig, and he agrees to help for a price, having promised he would come and rescue her if she was ever in trouble. Cute. Is the new set coming out in June? Yeah, the new set comes out next month. All right, let's dive into the next card here, chat. The next one is Sephiroth. Alrighty. We're going to actually go into the Sephiroth one. I think that this one is actually more of a commander. So let's go over this one. Is this from the set? No. Everything that we're looking at is going to be from the commander precons themselves. So none of this is standard legal. None of this you're going to find in limited. Every single one of these cards is going to be in the commander decks themselves. So let's dive into the brand new red-white Sephiroth. I think back when he was a hero, maybe? You're going to have to tell me, chat. We have Sephiroth Fallen Hero 3, red and a white, for a 7/5 human avatar soldier. Genova calls. Whenever Sephiroth attacks, you may put a cell counter on target creature. Until end of turn, each modified creature you control has base power and toughness 7/5. And then the reunion, pay 3 and sacrifice a modified creature. Return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Okay, now what is this? What am I looking at here? Is this Advent Children Sephiroth? The whole, like, bring a creature back. Like, he comes back from the dead, right? When he, like, those other Advent Children people sacrifice themselves. Is that, like, a thing? This is basically the same deck as Tanazir. Yeah. Nah, that's just straight from the game. Okay. Let me get to it. Okay, alright. Nesting Grounds. What's this one's Nesting Grounds? This is a commander. For sure. Nesting Grounds? That sounds like a... What's Nesting Grounds for? A Sal counter? Why would you... You don't need that. Just put it on the creature that you want. Like, whatever. Land that moves counters, I think. I don't think that you need it. I mean, just... When you attack with Sephiroth the first time, right? Like, you put a cell counter on just any creature that you want. It's probably something that you want to be a 7/5. And then, do you ever really need to move it off? Like, you can only activate Nesting Grounds at sorcery speed anyway, right? So it's not something that you could, like, kind of, you know, transfer around at the last second as a combat trip. So, really, like, I mean, you swing a Sephiroth, you give something 7/5, and you're kind of Gucci gang. Ooh, Savior of Olenbrock. I like that. That's a power-based card. Or wait, no, hold on. You don't want Savior of Olenbrock. That doesn't do anything. Sephiroth hair is whimsical. It is quite majestic, to say the least. Arcbound Shikari could do another cool modular build. Yeah, so I like that Sephiroth is hitting on the modified creatures part. So as we know, the deck is probably going to be full of equipment. We already saw Cloud about that life. Tifa already is like wanting to hit with 7 power creatures. So Sephiroth in here does like 100% really buff the deck up. That Tarkir Siege gives you 2 combat triggers. True. Yeah, Wind something Siege. Windcrag Siege, yep. Windcrag Siege giving extra combat triggers. I like that. It modifies itself and will always trigger because Sephiroth is huge. Correct. Anafenza is a hitter. Huh? Which one? Huh? Which one? Bolster or Endure 2? Huh? It modifies itself and wants trigger. May work with Aowen. Ooh, well, he is a human. Aowen. What? Just the fact that like Aowen has big power. Aowen doesn't really. Oh, I see. Hold on. Well, hold on. Aowen. No, Aowen Fearless Knight is only when she enters. When she enters, she can exile a creature an opponent controls to greater power, which is you don't want Aowen to have a 7/5, right? This is cards that can go in Sephiroth. I think Sephiroth can be a commander all by himself. So we're finding cards that Sephiroth that would want to be in a Sephiroth deck. So there's also a 5 mana 7/5 good old power creep. Yeah, Kintree Spirit. I don't know about that one. Combat Thresher is a good thing to put a cell counter on. Combat Thresher. Okay, a 3 mana 3/3 with double strike. It's just an equipment, but now you make it bigger. Yeah, having double strike, trample. Or hold on. Let's think about who's that commander? Who's the 0-drop commander? Let's talk about that. The 0-drop commander that has like trample first strike, not Urabrask. Ryan Sinclair, yeah. Ryan Sinclair. That is actually pretty true. Ryan Sinclair is pretty good here. Ryan Sinclair actually is pretty decent here. Rograk, yeah. Rogra. Son of Rod, yeah. Yeah, first strike trample, first strike menace trample, right? I think that's really good. I think that's a good example. I just found a card for him too. I was looking for cards in the deck myself and you stumbled on Stormbeacon Blade. That's from Tarkia, right? So Stormbeacon Blade is this Stormbeacon Blade you can have as like a pretty simple and straightforward upgrade for the Cloud deck as a whole, because Stormbeacon Blade says a cryptic creature gets plus 3/0, and whenever a cryptic creature attacks, draw a card if you control 3 or more attacking creatures. That's about Cloud in general, right? But Sephiroth Fallen Hero, like, unless I'm missing something, I don't really think like Sephiroth wants to attack, put a cell counter on something, and then each modified creature gets base power toughness 7/5, and then sacrifice the modified creature, bring Sephiroth back, right? So 4 Mirrodin cards are really good here, right? Felidar Retreat, either more dudes or modify everything depending on your needs. This is true. This is true. And now I'm seeing what you're saying, like Anafenza bolstering, or I guess Anafenza doing the whenever a creature of yours dies, you endure 2. No, that just makes a token. Yeah, Anafenza Kintree Spirit's not bad because you're bolstering everything. That's not too bad. You could do tokens and supply runners. Yep. But Krenko, Tin Street Kingpin. Yeah. I really like Krenko here, right? Because yeah, Krenko can Krenko Tin Street Kingpin is actually really, really huge. I'm actually gonna put that in here instead of actually Ryan Sinclair is going to be replaced for Krenko. Endora's counters or tokens. Yeah, Endora puts the counters on herself. Alright, so lore time. Sephiroth is a super soldier who works for Shinra. He was a hero to all before he visited the Nibelheim reactor with Cloud, with an asterisk, on an inspection. In the reactor, he found tanks containing monsters being developed by Shinra by subjecting... Sorry, hold on, I gotta catch up to where you're saying. I need the lore on these characters because I have literally no clue. I gotta pop this out. So lore time. With Cloud on the expansion in the reactor, he finds tanks containing monsters being developed by Shinra by subjecting people to Mako energy. He also finds a room marked Jenova, the name of his mother. He does research in the basement of the local Shinra mansion, very Resident Evil, and finds out the truth. He was biologically developed using the cells of Jenova. Okay. Probably Anim Pakal over Krenko. I think Anim Pakal specifically wants plus some. She gets plus some counters, and she makes gnomes equal to the amount of plus some counters on her. So no, she doesn't want bigger power. Super glad I found your stream. I appreciate that, Cannonball. That means a lot. Anim Pakal was a devastating deck, but you can get more gnomes for higher power. Right. Krenko cares about power, whereas Anim Pakal is strictly plus some. Yep. Genova is believed to be an ancient, a race that came before humanity and warred with them. He now resents humanity. He goes crazy and burns the town, killing oh my god, he actually kills everyone? Including Cloud's mother and Tifa's father. He gravely injures Tifa. Is that the samurai sword that she suffers from? And Cloud attempts to stop him. This art depicts him burning down the town. Wow, wait, so when did this happen? Like, when did, Sephiroth do this? Is this after we kind of meet the Berry Band of Heroes, or is this significantly before? Eowyn Shield Maiden, go to combat. You get 2 knights with haste. Sephiroth can make one of them 7/5s. You get a consistent token creatures to bring Sephiroth back. Yeah, that's not too bad. I get what you're saying. I think Sephiroth could definitely go in an Eowyn deck. But Sephiroth, I believe, is a powerful enough commander on his own, so we're going to focus on where he can be placed commander-wise. Like, where can he fit in the commander deck? This is a flashback years prior. Okay, gotcha. But yeah, I see what you mean now, Freyord. At the very least, I do get what you mean. It's backstory, but now long ago varies by version. Oh. Stuff like Abzan Falconeer would be great. Abzan Falconeer cares about plus and counters, which Sephiroth doesn't deal with. What's happening here? Hold on. We realize that Sephiroth does not deal with plus and counters, right? He does like modified creatures. Don't get me wrong. Each modified creature becomes a 7/5, and that is cool. And I guess if you're doing plus and counters with Abzan Falconeer, there'll be 7/5s with flying. That maybe is what you mean. Okay, I kind of get that, but this is like right after Cloud joined to be a soldier. He got sent with Zack and Sephiroth to be the little grunt. Oh, right, yeah. I've seen like a little bit of that cutscene, but I'm not entirely sure. New Elspeth just zeros her repeatedly. Just make a bunch of little guys. Yeah. Ignore that comment. All right, perfect. Okay, so let's go to Sephiroth here. Yeah, we have a Zack card comes later. Yeah, we can get the Zack card later. All right. So, looking at Sephiroth Fallen Hero, if we want to make a commander deck specifically out of Sephiroth, right, he can go into the 99 of a lot of different decks. Any red-white decks that deal with plus and counters, equipment, Sephiroth is perfect for it, but I believe that he can be a deck all his own. So, whenever Sephiroth attacks, you can put a cell counter on target creature. That part honestly doesn't mean anything, right? The cell counter itself doesn't do anything, but it does make a creature modified, right? So, until end of turn, each modified creature you control has base power and toughness 7/5. Equipment, auras, and counters are all modifications. So he's just putting something on any creature he wants. It gets bigger. Awesome. And then the reunion, pay 3, sacrifice a modified creature you control, return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So you can only trigger the reunion when he's in your graveyard, which means this is a commander who kind of has like graveyard ninjutsu in a way. You can just put Sephiroth in your graveyard, and as long as you can guarantee that you're going to be able to have a modified creature, you can always sacrifice them and bring Sephiroth back. So, looking at the cards that we want to have, just looking at the different abilities he has that we want to focus on, we want to look at we want to look for cards that double attack triggers, right? So whenever Sephiroth attacks, you can now put 2 cell counters on something, right? So a cell counter over here, a cell counter over here. That's just going to end up being super strong over a long period of time. This allows you to have 2 creatures that can always bring Sephiroth back. Even if Windcrag Siege doesn't seem like the most impactful here, having 2 options to bring Sephiroth back in a very a heavy removal format, which I believe this will be, is going to be really strong. And it also just came out in the recent set, so you can get it pretty easily. Next, Ragrak, Son of Ragak. Cards that are, 0 power, or at the very least really low power, but they have abilities. First Strike, Menace, Trample, all of that sort of stuff, right? Having cards that have 0 power, that's like the down, that's the detraction from the downside is that they have 0 power, but they have all these cool abilities. Sephiroth just puts a simple counter on them, and now Rograk is a 7/5 with First Strike, Menace, and Trample. It's really, really easy to find cards that just go absolutely sick with them. And then the last thing I want to focus on, Krenko Tin Street Kingpin. Now, there are many Krenko decks. However, this one specifically says get goblins equal to Krenko's power, right? So you can swing already, put a +1/+1 counter, and then and then have Krenko become a 7/5, right? Now, Krenko becomes a 7/5 and gets 7, well, I guess now 8 because they'll have the +1/+1 counters on them. He's going to make 7 goblins. That is really, really powerful. That, that's spawning like a whole army on the side. So, when in this deck, you want to try to find cards that really want to have high power and toughness because they start themselves with a low power and toughness, like Rograk. Additional combat triggers with Windcrag Siege would be fantastic. And then cards that give you things based on you having like a really, really high power. And Sephiroth is going to allow for that. So that's probably the best Krenko you can have in here. Alright, and then boom. Now, I saved the clip. That's going to the editor. Tell me more about Sephiroth. Turns out that 0 mana creatures can be strong when you make them beefy as Sin. Yeah, literally. Also, I think Sin in this game is like a 9/9, so almost there. They're gonna go Goblin Shenanigans, go Burr, right? Won't he make 8 goblins even? Right, exactly, because you get the +1/+1 counter from his ability, and Sephiroth, it will be made huge. Flavor Exonation, Jenova cells are injected in every one of Senior's soldiers. It's what gives them superior strength, speed, abilities, etc. Unfortunately, these Jenova cells also want to come back together. It degrades these soldiers. So, like, together we can rule. Together we can rule as family, as Serpent King, and stuff like that, right? Okay, cool, yeah. So all the cells want to join back in. Is that what happens in Advent Children? One Sin is a 5/5 with a ton of counters. The other is a 7/7. Damn, Sephiroth could just cut that bitch in half. Okay, that happens in Advent. Oh yeah, all the kids had like things on their necks. Okay, I get you. Alright, cool. Next card. Ultimate Magic Holy. What in the hell is that? What in the hell is even that? Jenova's head merges with the Jenova cells in Kadge's body and brings back Sephiroth. Right. Happens all the time over Final Fantasy VII since Sephiroth, basically. Okay. Teferi's Protection at Home. Is that what this card is? I have yet to read it yet, so let's go see. Alright. Chat is calling this card Teferi's Protection at Home. Let's find out. We have the one and only Ultimate Magic Holy. 2 in a white, instant. Permanents you control gain indestructible until end of turn. If this card was cast from exile, prevent all damage that would be dealt to you this turn. And it has Foretell, which is fine. Okay. So the card's cost doesn't get reduced at all. It's just the fact that you kind of did wait a turn or whatever to do it. Permanents you control gain indestructible until the end of turn. If this spell was cast from exile, prevent all damage that will be dealt to you this turn. Okay. Alright. So part of the climax is the interplay between 2 ultimate spells, Meteor and Holy. Sephiroth wants to use Meteor, Operation Meteor from Gundam Wing, to mortally wound the world, causing an unparalleled accumulation of the planet's life force, okay? Holy is the counterpart to Meteor, the planet's only defense. Aerith, the last ancient, has to use Holy Materia and is said to be the only person who can use it. Okay. Yeah, this does seem a little meh, because, like, at the end of the day, you still have... Yeah. I mean, hey, you're indestructible. At instant speed. Huh? That's pretty cool. I'll give it. The foretell is weird. The fact that you're paying 3 mana at instant speed or foretelling it later is okay. Like, it doesn't even cost that much less. It doesn't cost any less. Lord Time, long story short, Sephiroth summons a giant meteor to wound the world to a point where the life seems... Hey! Hold on, I'm gonna have to look at that in just a second. Raiders, welcome on in. Thank you very much for joining me today. Wow, yeah, we're going over the Final Fantasy VII Limit Break deck. We're breaking this down one at a time while chat fills me in on the lore. Let's see. The statistic that most decks have an indestructible commander is a statistical error. Statistical error. Indestructible Justin, who has 12 indestructible commanders in his deck, and Outlier should have been excluded. True. All true. I can repost in a sec. Perfect. Thank you. 7, yes. We are also spoiling Final Fantasy VII, although I hear the remakes kind of change some things around, so maybe it's all old lore. But yes, the Raiders are molding. Hey, listen, we love Raiders that mold, because we love mold. Thank you very much, Raiders. I appreciate it. Welcome, fellow Moldhound goons. Gooners. My soldiers rage. Not even Tef Pro. This is Flare 42 that home. I agree with that, actually. I agree with that. This is Flare 42 that home. The remake is a sequel, not a remake. Okay. However, Aerith succeeded. Holy tries to stop Meteor in the end. Holy can overcome Meteor, but not Meteor plus Sephiroth. The party needs to kill Sephiroth to stop Meteor and save the planet. Oh, so she still managed to cast Holy. I guess maybe right before she died or something. Thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate you. It's like the Evangelion rebuilds. It's a remake because it remakes the original. Oh, now I get it. Okay. Foretell makes this super predictable too. I mean, I don't think that this deck is full of Foretell cards. Just hypothetically, I don't think that the equipment deck has a lot of Foretell cards. I'm pretty sure all of your opponents are going to know what the hell this is. Kind of a weird choice, but whatever. Verwella's concealed information. Yeah. Other than the fact that this might be the only face down card in the deck. I don't know, it might be. It's always been your problem, Foretell. Yeah, I see that. There's only one landfill go. Yeah, right. Exactly. Okay. So, Ultimate Magic Holy, chat. What commander decks can Ultimate Magic Holy go into? Like, barring the obvious, right? Like, yeah, okay, sure. Like, any indestructible commander is kind of like whatever. It's not horrible. No, it's not horrible. I mean, preventing damage does mean... Well, your creatures typically don't take damage if they're indestructible, right? It's like, okay. Renar. I do like Renar. Oh, yeah. Renar gets... Oh, that's so true. Renar gets to put this... Renar... I have a Renar deck over here that I'm actually taking apart. I really liked Renar. I really liked Renar. What else? I feel like the Fog plus board wipe protection would be worth the revealed info. Yeah. Prevent all damage that will be dealt to you this turn. So if your opponents are being attacked by anyone else wielding Ultimate Magic Holy, they still take the damage, and we just revel in it, Damn. That's pretty sick. Okay, so Renar Ever Watchful definitely wants this card because he can foretell it for free. And Renar Ever Watchful is a good example of how, like, even though your cards have foretell, you can't always expect exactly what they're going to do. I feel... You can use this offensively for combat in an Elsha deck. Yeah, that's true. Dasim Baduscar saw it coming. Mystic Reflections played the first Fireball. Okay. The fact that this is Telegram as hell might improve it. The threat of being flogged indestructible will prevent people from playing Rast, like attacking you without having to pay it. Yeah. So blue decks stay winning because we can always just like bluff it and counter it. Surge of Brilliance. Surge of Brilliance is pretty okay. It'll just add like one additional card, and it's not like I don't know. We actually no. Nah, I don't think you can. Nah. Somewhat difficult to lore dump because that's right at the end of the game. Hey, that's fine. Listen, this is already great. No, if I know the fog is there, I'm going to force it. Yeah, the way my group plays is to make them have it because the best counter spell is the one your opponents haven't cast. That's a philosophy to live by. What let me see. What do we... I like Renar, because Renar has Foretell. What else? Basically, what you're seeing in the art is the last shot of the game where it cuts the credits. There's a Marvel singer, but that doesn't count. It's a cliffhanger that leaves you wondering if you... Wait, hold on. Do you end Final Fantasy VII not knowing if the good guys won or not? Huh? Hey, Higher. This seems okay. Add that to the list of cards that say, hey, you want to touch me? Nah. Wait, you end Final Fantasy VII not knowing how it ends? Or, like, any idea? That's kind of crazy. You know you win, you don't know if you survive? Oh. That's still crazy. That's still quite the choice. Alright. The game ends ambiguously, and the singer only confirms that Red 13 survived the fate of humanity. Is up in the air. Well, and then Advent Children came out and confirmed that Earth was the exact same as was before. Maybe more slummy. Mia's got the lore, so I'm paying attention to that. Where's your... Some more lore. Also pictured is the life... There's a live stream helping Holy to combat Meteor. To elaborate, you really need to know the mana generated actually from the live stream. A stream of consciousness and memory of... Wait, hold on. It memorizes people? Like, the magic memorizes people's spirits and then reabsorbs and then dies. This game is already off the rails. I just know it. Okay, so I have Renar that wants this deck. The other card, they're printing win the game and take your pack next game. Oh, yeah. Then all the sequels come out and ruined everything. Oh, no, don't say that. Adventure takes place way before the past. Oh, way before it? Oh, okay. And it was, yeah. Okay. Any deck set this card cares about casting spells from exile, but most of those aren't white. Oh, hold on. Pia Console. Pia Console of Revival. Oh no, let's play a land from exile. Or cast a spell. Okay. Here we go. That's a commander that cares about casting from exile. Do you want me to DM you these lore dumps instead? I'm hitting word caps every lore dump. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, go ahead and do that. Can play it in the Hellbent deck too. Those are usually out of not white. And white has so many cards that allow it to like get back into the game. It's really difficult. They're printing win the game and take your pack next game. Yeah. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Advent Children is 2 years after the game. Oh, okay. It's only 2 years. It's fine. I just need one more. Most Magic uses material, which is crystallized life force of the planet. Its overuse is an ecological disaster. Is that why they're fighting? Maybe. Gamer! Hey, Fervent Alchemist, good to see you. I just need one more commander that Ultimate Magic Holy goes in. I have a Neem Pakal and Renar the Ever Watchful. I guess I could be Ketchermos as well. But that doesn't quite build too readily for me. At the beginning of Advent Children, you actually see the post-credit scene of Red 13 and his kids. Oh, wow, really? Love the sweater? Thank you very much, Fervent. That's why Avalanches are rebelling against Shinra. It isn't Sephiroth's motivation, but those same mechanics are why he's using Meteor, basically trying to suck the penalty dry, right? You do see how much Final Fantasy Secret Lair drop is going to be? No. No. How much is the Final Fantasy Secret Lair drop? I haven't seen that. Yeah, we're all waiting for Quest to drop. The live stream is where live stream is where people's souls go to die. It's a physical substance in its energy gaseous form. It's called Mako, which can crystallize into materia and make it. Oh, wow. I mean, I didn't know that we were using people to fuel spells. Okay, I mean, great. Am I the baddie? Like, what's going on here? It's gonna cost $200, Hernandez. That's... I'm not getting it. Okay, I mean, it's that simple. Ooh, Lyra Portier. I like that. I like that. I think any mention of Commando Lyra Portier is pretty dope. The ghost power of the cars, I tell ya, that's fucked up. All right. All right, let's dive into this one here. Sorry, I know I got a little flustered there. So, looking at Ultimate Magic Holy, a 3-mana instant that's going to save your entire board, and even though it's like probably the only Foretell card in the deck, so it's kind of telegraphed, it does make your opponent not cast cards. We do have to understand that even if your opponents don't, or even if your opponents do know what's coming next, you can mind game them away from actually doing anything, right? So, Ultimate Magic Holy, being able to put that on the side docket on turn 3 and then recast it on your turn, you know, kind of just whenever. Permanency control, gain indestructible until end of turn. If this spell was kicked, if this spell was cast from exile, prevent all damage that would be dealt to you this turn. Yeah, why did I think it was kick? Yeah, sorry. Spell was cast from exile, and then Foretell. I mean, it's no permanent indestructible, spells cast from exile, prevent all damage will be dealt to you this turn. I mean, yeah, this is like pretty whatever. This is just like, we don't need to belabor this point. It's a pretty basic card. As you said, it's not Teferi at home. It's something else at home. I love confusing people by explaining Final Fantasy VII this way. Everything runs on the dead, but technically, that's just oil. Right. Why is the Secret Lair costing more than the box? My wallet is already hurting from pre-orders of the pre-con. Because they can. Alright. So the first commander I think that would absolutely love this deck is Renar Ever Watchful. Renar is already a creature that loves to have cards exiled from the battlefield or your graveyard or your hand, whatever, and he'll allow you to foretell for free. Next up is Pia Nalaar, Council of Revival. She likes it whenever you cast lands or spells from exile around her. She doesn't really care what plane they're coming through, what all that's happening. She just likes this stuff. It's like pretty awesome. And then lastly, we have Commander Lyra Portier. So the main thing that we want with Commander Lyra Portier is when you exile something with when you exile something, say like on attack or whatever, Lyra Portier is going to be able to cast exiled spells for less mana than you normally would have to cast. So This is just like I'm trying to find like there's not a lot of white commanders that are doing a spell slinger thing that really want you to cast from exile and give you a benefit. Renard just likes exile. Pianalar likes casting from exile. Portier also kind of helps you cast from exile as well. Just do note that if you attack with Lyra Portier and it goes into your exile, the ultimate magic holy, you will still cast it from exile, so that second ability will trigger, which is pretty cool, right? Like that is actually pretty freaking neat. Heroic intervention at home. The white heroic intervention at home. Yeah. Curl live on all the apps. Damn right we are. Damn right. Yeah. I want to actually, you know what? I think is a more interesting commander. Maybe I would say like, or not better, but in terms of a brand new commander, Nyriv Crackling Vanguard. That would actually be really, really strong here. Nyriv Crackling Vanguard. Yeah, that would actually be pretty cool. Alrighty. Uh-oh. I did something wrong. Alright. Back to